Season 2, Episode 4, Just Saying. I'm Greybeard. Welcome to it. And we're going to cycle through all the guests. You can see we got a couple of new ones here, which is pretty dope. Bromeo, I think we recognize that face. So hello, Bromeo. I won't ask how you are because I'm sure you're fabulous and really excited.
Obviously, that's how it's my default setting. I'm always fabulous and excited, just like Daniel over there. He's a boyki who's got his hair more fabulous than mine tonight. So excuse me if I'm a little bit off for the rest of this episode. Sorry, guys. I need to leave now.
Well, let me introduce to you who we've got on the show tonight. So not directly under me. So down and to the right, I guess, is Hecky from the owner, the big dog, the huge cheese out of Ox Gaming. And over the weeks leading up to the start of RSC Season 4, we're gonna get all the GMs and all the top people from the RSC franchises in to come and chat. And Hecky, not your first time on the stream, but the last time you were in a very dodgily dark room, and it was very hard to see. So it's nice to actually see your face, Hecky.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to be seen. Greybeard. Yeah. pleasure to be here. Hello, chat.
Is this part of Ox Gaming's strategy to step out of the shadows?
Well, maybe we'll see. I can't release too much, you know.
Well, at least out from the shadow of Unity Gaming, you know, come and stamp your authority on RSC.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've been owning it over in EU for quite some seasons. In SSA, you know, Unity's been slowing us down. Voodoo's a bit smelly. So, yeah.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. And then our other guest tonight is so we have two major sponsors for RSC Season 4. Last week we spoke a lot about Slayer and them coming on board and going to be huge partners for RSC going forward and an influence in the Rocket League scene for our region. But our other sponsor, who's actually was with us last season, is here again with us this season. And it occurred to me that we have been terribly remiss in not actually getting them onto the podcast and having a conversation with them. And so joining us from Genesis Extreme, our broadcast partner, is Daniel, who I know, Daniel, you've been really excited about getting on camera, and finally we have you here front-facing on camera.
I think this will probably be the first and last time that I'll be front-facing on camera. I'm normally the guy that sits behind and clicks all the cameras. It's like I said earlier, you know, it's good to be here. Thank you for the introductions. And man, I'm happy to be back. RSC has always been something that was close to us at the whole of last season. And you guys put on a great show. It's an amazing league for anybody at any level to join into. And just working with you guys in general has always been such a pleasure. And that's probably one of the main reasons why we back this season. I think if you guys weren't cool OS, then we probably wouldn't be back this season. But yeah, it's fun, man. It's fun.
To be fair, one of my favorite things from last season. So if you guys chat, if you guys know how prod works, production generally sits in your ear and gives you these audio cues on whether you need to hurry along, or whether you need to introduce the next topic, or you're taking too long, or you're just really bad at your job. That's what Daniel did for the entire of last season. So we'd be chatting along, yapping as we do, because we love the sound of our own voices as casters. And he'd be like, "Time to say goodbye." And we'd keep talking, and he's like, "Time to say goodbye." And then so that is how I remember Daniel. And Daniel is supremely effective in your ear, getting you to do those things. So the reason why Greybeard, the reason why Greybeard, myself, and whoever else was on cast was so supremely polished, it wasn't because we're naturally good at our jobs. That's only half the story. It's Daniel in our ears. So I am supremely chuffed that Dan is back this season.
Well, I'm gonna have some very pointed and specific questions to be asking Daniel in a moment, but I didn't say how's it all the oaks that are here in chat. So who we got there? We got Tubbsy, Darkulip, the Bromio's in chat. How cool is that? And Hecky, this is amazing. Tubbsy, Vinko, Ibn Fenta, Raids, the producer is also in chat. Asterix. Clerks, there's a name we hope to see a lot more of this season again. Clerks is one of the superstars out of RSC Season 3. Good to have you in chat. Willant, we're going to be talking about Willant in a moment because he had a banger of a run in the 1v1 Cash Cup. Borky, Oscar, Wisp, PMC. Oh, that seems like a new name because it does not immediately familiar to me. Board, Jeff, Slowpokes, another name out of RSC Season 3. And Desolation's here as well. How awesome. And then Wabbit is here as well. So welcome to all of you in chat and those who are just lurking and not in chat. First order of business is the 1v1 Cash Cup, which happened this past weekend. 107 people signed up for it. And there was no Snowy, no To Die For, and no Sweaty Clarence. So none of the Limitless boys were in. Snowy did sign up for it, but then he DQ'd, didn't actually show up on the day, which was rather unusual. But despite that, coming into the top 12, there were 6 SSA players, 12 EU players, but 6 SSA players. There you see them there. And most chuffed that Ravi came in on the upper bracket along with Zany. So flying the SSA flag very, very high were Ravi and Zany. Now, Ravi had Revezi in the upper bracket, which is a really, really tough one. Revezi winning the SSA RLCS 1v1 Open. And the favorite to win this. And it was really close. Ravi won the first 2 games. He was 2-0 up, but then got reverse swept, which was terribly unfortunate. Zany, however, prevailing over Ivan 3-1. So he went through to the upper bracket final where he lost to Revezi. And then Tweaks. The first match in the lower bracket, you'll see just a period, a full stop. That was Tweaks, who never plays 2 tournaments in a row with the same name. It drives us all crazy. But he was up against Velocity, so he made his exit there, 3-1. Willant, though, smashing Hydra out of Reunion Island, the sole Reunion Island player, looking really, really good against Hydra. Devour got swept by Badness, and Mercury was swept by Surf. Now, Surf apparently is like a top 30 EU ones player or some such, so that was quite something, although he didn't do too well against Badness, got swept in the next round, and then Willant was swept by Velocity. So Ravi then went up against Velocity, and that went the other way. Ravi was 2 down, almost reverse sweeping, but going down in the end. And then Ivan and Badness. Ivan, I think, got beaten so thoroughly by Zany that he DQ'd his next round match. And then Zany in the lower bracket final got beaten by Velocity, which meant Velocity and Revezi went through to the grand final. I'm sure it was an epic. I wish I cared a lot more to bring you all the details of that. But all of this to say a shout out. I have been quite impressed with the 1v1 performance, both in RLCS and then now in this Cash Cup of the SSA players. And I know, I mean, Hecky and Daniel, I don't think you're close observers, and Daniel, we'll talk about it a bit more, but you just came off a 24-hour stream, so you didn't pay the attention I would have liked. But Bromio, you and I can briefly discuss the fortunes of 1v1 SSA 1v1 players.
I mean, the last time we spoke 1v1, we extolled the virtues of Sweaty and how far he's come and how well he's representing the region. But if you have a look at the names of some of these SSA players that have made it, into the final day to Championship Sunday, you're looking at Ravi, Zany, in their element, really, really good players. But a year ago this time, they weren't really in the conversation. And Willant also been around, Devour also new, and Mercury as well. So what I'm loving about this is that all of these names aren't necessarily the names you would have put forward at, a season ago.
Yes.
And all of these names are players who have been grinding, and it shows. And I remember seeing tweaks, a whole bunch in RSC, and seeing them consistently getting better as time has progressed has given me so much hope. Because when I first saw, the 1v1 Cash Cup coming through, I'm like, oh, damn, here comes another event where we're just going to get farmed. But there's so much, reason in these results for hope and for progress, even given the tiny stature of our community. I mean, Greybeard, you know this, and the boys on stream with us, they know this as well. SSA is tiny in comparison to our EU brethren and NA and all of those things. And for the fact that we have been, at the very least competitive, despite it being, the region being open for anybody to sign up, gives me so much reason to push forward and to continue on that. So I'm so damn proud of each and every one of these guys who made it through to the top. I didn't catch nearly as many games as I wanted to, but just by the results, it's been a really good showing.
And worth emphasizing, 3 of those names, Ravi, Devour, Willant, 14 and 15 years old, all of them. So many years of service to SSA Rocket League coming in from those 3 players. And I know Willant got off to a massive start in the season. He posted a tweet and a screen grab. He's like sort of in and around the top 100 or some such. Devour just made SSL in ones. So man, oh man, this is and that's. But our job now, through RSC, through all our endeavors in Rocket League, is how do we find 100 more of the Ravi Devours, Willants, and Eagles that can come in and be superstars for the region. So, so well done to them. And that pretty much wraps up the Cash Cup. And I think that's all the Psionics Rocket League for now. There is the major this weekend. And I'm very keen to see how Dignitas do. That's pretty much the only team I'm interested in.
Fair enough.
Oh, okay. We got someone in chat. One friend. I'm assuming that's what his name means. He says he's on his way. I'm very encouraged. Carry on. This is good. Nothing gets me more excited than young people grinding Rocket League. It's just so.
Why did you assume his age? He could be, at least my age or, equally ancient.
Yeah. Just I'm basing it purely on the context of the conversation we were talking about. 85.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
See, there we go.
3 years younger than Greybeard.
Man literally only has like 1 or 2 seasons left of life, let alone RLCS. So, well played, sir. I wish you many future season.
And then to answer Legitslamy, I don't know if that's how he says it, but there you go. He has a question. Where was Snowy in To Die For? No idea. We know To Die For is in Europe. He's on holiday. Snowy, I don't know. As I said, he signed up but didn't show up on the day and DQ'd. And Sweaty didn't even sign up, so I don't know what is going on there. Maybe wanted to take a little break from Rocket League. But that wraps up our brief recap of the 1v1 Cash Cup. Well done to everybody who competed, and particularly our top 6 SSA players who made top 12. Very well done to you. Hello, Keegs. Now let's get to our guests, and Hecky, you're gonna sit there and smile awkwardly for a while because I've got a couple of questions for Daniel, and then we're gonna come to you. So Daniel, you're with Genesis Extreme, and we see your logo floating on all our broadcasts now and on all our social posts. So let's start with the obvious question of who or what is Genesis Extreme?
I think if you think about it in a broad term, Genesis Extreme is a digital agency. We specialize in 2 sides. So we've got a sim racing broadcasting house in America, and we broadcast out a lot of sim racing globally. In terms of broadcast, I mean like we do the whole shebang. So we'll collect talent, we'll put on the show, organize everything. So that's one side of it. But the more important side of Genesis Extreme in relation to where we are now here in this podcast, we trying to bring a new angle and try and challenge broadcasting quality within SSA as a region, more specifically South Africa. And we're trying to penetrate ourselves into the South African market, which is really hard, especially when I think competitive gaming is taking a very weird turn at the moment within our local scene, which is why we come on board with RSC, because I think there's a big shift in the market in terms of trying to connect casual with competitive gaming, and that's something amazing that RSC does, where you can join in at any level possible, and you can be competitive, and it's a great platform to be scouted. We've got great broadcasts coming in this season. And thanks to some of the local team and the admins at RSC, we've been planning pretty heavily. But jumping back to who Genesis Extreme is, we wanting to specifically improve the broadcast quality that we have here in SSA, and I'm hoping to show off some of the cool stuff that we got going for this season.
Now, someone in chat I'm bored has asked he said, is that Sathu? Now, Daniel, you need to, after this broadcast, you need to go and find a picture of Sathu, because when he asked that question, I was like, yeah, I can see that. But
I thought I was unique. Apparently,
good observation. Good observation.
And Daniel, you are unique, just like everybody else. And then what do you do who are you to Genesis Extreme?
Well, there's basically 2-3 of us that are running in Genesis Extreme. We've got our main man CEO, who's Gareth. I think he's watching this somewhere. I really don't like it when people
behavior,
watch.
Daniel.
Yeah, I really don't like it when people watch me on camera. I absolutely hate it. I'm like, okay, you guys can go watch the VOD afterwards or what? But while it's live, no. Always been like that. So Garrett's our CEO. He's the big man. He's the smart man in charge. And then there's myself. I do all of the, I guess, the official title COO. But I do all of the operation stuff. I manage, basically the ins and outs of all the part of the company, as well as I do building out the shows and directing work for the broadcasts, and organizing you guys. I try to sometimes. And then we've got our amazing designer, who Mr. Christian Deploy. He's an absolute legend. Without him, I don't think I would be around at the moment. He's an absolute lifesaver, and that's pretty much who I am and who's around Genesis Extreme. Everything that needs to happen at Genesis Extreme is kind of my responsibility.
Now, Daniel, you and I have a bit of I'm trying to remember where we met, and I want to say Comic-Con, but I feel like we had met at something prior to that, but probably some sort of event like that. And you don't have a Rocket League background. Like, I mean, I don't think you've been a Rocket League grinder or anything like that.
No.
But I know from very early on, I was talking to you about sort of like, I was very keen to have you involved in Rocket League. So maybe, I guess the question is, why Rocket League? Why RSC? How have you come to find yourself playing what is going to be a really, really important role in the success of RSC for Rocket League in this region?
Well, I think there's a couple of contributing factors. The one which I already briefly spoke about is that the team behind RSC SSA, they're amazing. I've known Greybeard for a long time. Don't know about this graveyard guy, this Bromeo guy. He's all right, you know. But then there's some other guys like Sean and Rabbit in the background who are doing a lot of dev work for this season, and a lot of that dev work is going to be put into our broadcast. So you're going to see a lot more improvements and bringing up historical data, improvements on the overlay, etc., etc. And it's not often you can try and find guys that will put in that amount of time just because of the love of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. Everybody here is doing it for the passion of it, which is super important. I've been fortunate enough to work with people all over the world with multiple esports titles, and you find it. You don't find it a lot where there's much passion. People just do it because of the payday, and they'll come in 5 minutes before the job and they'll leave 5 minutes after the job, and that's about it. And I think that's something also quite special about South Africans in general. We've just got a determination to get it done as well, which is amazing, and it's cool being back. I believe Rocket League has a massive future in South Africa and a very prominent future in South African esports. I mean, you can see it. You guys were talking earlier about how young some of these really good guys are. If you try and compare it to like a traditional sport like rugby and like look at where rugby is today and how it's bred through the whole school system, that's kind of where we are with Rocket League. And this is the first time we've seen esports kind of go through those channels as well. So I think that we're properly going to be bringing out some serious talent within Rocket League, and well, we're seeing it already, but I think 2-3 years from now, it will be in an amazing space at the moment. Well, then.
But I think you raised something pretty important, and we didn't actually give it enough airtime as we should have. Is we have somebody missing tonight, Shauno. Shauno is not on stream. We didn't let him out of his cage this week because he didn't get enough done. So we told him no food and no podcasts until his dev work is more further down the way. And Daniel, you were hinting towards some stuff that we were changing and adding onto the broadcast. And Sean, I think for every night this week has messaged me at like 1 a.m. saying, yes, like, let me show you what I have just managed to achieve. I mean, I think the guy's trying to build his own bull chasing. He's that far along. And I'm so excited for the cool stuff we get to show you guys on stream, because even if we only get like 10% of what we're actually aiming to do, it's going to be so much better than last season even. So, no pressure to Daniel, obviously, because that's just, me making promises. But I honestly, I think, we had a whole season to, get to know each other. But now that, I've insulted Daniel enough times, behind stream, we've cried together, we've laughed together. And I think we're in a really, really good place now to make sure that season 4 is the biggest, the brightest, the bestest, the most importantest season of RSC we've had so far. And I know, Greybeard, I'm hyping it way more than you usually do. But honestly, I am so damn excited. It is going to be so cool.
What's been amazing, there's a couple of things that have been impressive to me. One, I had a very definite vision for last season of RSC that we'd have this banger season, which we did. And based on all of that success, we would be bringing in huge amounts of money that could support all the people who have been doing this for the passion. And Genesis Extreme would be there and like actually getting something of a payday out of it. And then, as I've explained a few times, I started this year with massive hopes and dreams and things that I really thought would come off, and then they didn't. So many of the things I wanted to get done or had planned started to fall through, and one of those was a particularly big potential sponsor, which all just drained away one day. And with that in mind, I was amazed, Daniel, when we reached out to you like, hey, RSC, the next season of RSC is coming, and Yeah, I was really, I asked you with great trepidation, like whether you guys would be willing to do it. And I've firstly was amazed with how instantly you were like, absolutely, we're there. And then secondly, you mentioned Deploy, and I don't think he's getting enough credit here. He's from a graphic standpoint, and I mean, he's working really hard in the background to make sure that season 4 of RSC looks and feels amazing. And so I'm almost like, why did you come back?
We weren't expecting this, but cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, right? I do believe in this project, and I think it's probably one of the most. It's a project that has longevity to it, and I think it also fits into where the ecosystem within esports is heading to. I might just be trying to be blurred-eyed at the moment, but I think that's where we're heading. And like I said, because of how young they're getting integrated into a casual or a competitive environment within this esport, you will start seeing a massive improvement into the future development of it when they're in grade 10, grade 12, coming into university. I think, yeah, I genuinely believe that. But also at the same time, we were talking about our relationships building between Genesis Extreme and RSC. One thing that's also been really pleasant to work with is that when we have feedback sessions, we can be honest and we can be open, and that feedback is properly received. A lot of the time when you're dealing with clients, you feel this need to try and like juggle around, touchy points or whatever, and it doesn't really feel like that here. And I think that one of the main reasons of it as well is because when we have feedback and we're like, okay, you guys, we actually need to do this, it kind of just gets done to the most part. There's obviously some shortfalls in certain aspects which we're improving this season. But yeah, I think that's also going through the whole critiquing a product and then improving it, and the constant improvement. It's the Kaizen principle. It's one of our main ethos at Genesis Extreme as well, that we need to constantly be improving. And with that, I don't see a bound to the success of RSC.
Well, we're enormously grateful to have you on board, of course, and to echo Bromio's excitement. There are some really. I get frustrated with saying there are great things coming. It's like, you know what? Talk about it when it's here. But yes, there are so many cool things happening, and we cannot wait to bring it to the live broadcast. Now, Bromio, I'm going to ask you a question which Breezy asked in chat. Is because I didn't know what the actual answer is. Why isn't this podcast on the RSC channel? I mean, it started there, and then when RSC ended, I was like, you know what? I love the podcast. I love the title, so I stole it and cannibalized it onto my channel. But I feel like it is a question that deserves an answer.
Graveyard needs some views. That's why.
Yeah, no. So
that
that is the core of it. At the end of the day, is that the RSC podcast was only supposed to run for 9 weeks or something like that, for as long as the RSC season was going. And when it ended, Greybeard was like, do you know what? You guys aren't as awful as I thought you were. And then decided to say, hey, why don't we do this every week? And so we did. And there's no point in putting it on the RSC SSA Twitch when for 9 months of the year, it has nothing to do with RSC necessarily, but then for 3 months, it is almost exclusively RSC. So the decision was made that on Tuesdays, it would be broadcast on Greybeard's Twitch, because in essence, Just Saying became Greybeard's channel, and Greybeard became Just Saying. And on Thursdays, when we broadcast matches, that goes out on the RSC SSA Twitch. So also give us a like and a follow, because I know Breezy probably doesn't.
Yeah, which reminds me, I should just put that in chat. All right, we're gonna move over now to talking to Hecky. So Bromeo, I'm gonna let you lead this one because why is Hecky even here?
That's a good question, and something that I'm probably not even equipped to answer. He's one of those guys that just slides into your DMs one day, and like a good yeast infection doesn't go away until you've either waited it out or had a good course of antibiotics. So I I am really really grateful for guys like Hecky because he is an RSC man through and through. From season 1 all the way until now, he has been consistent. He has been persistent. And every time I think of franchises and SSA and guys just putting their hand up and getting involved, it's you here, Hickey. So I know that you've got quite a bit of vested interest in SSA already. I wish I had the picture. I actually do, and I wish I could screen share for you guys, but sadly, I'm not that well equipped.
Well,
But
send it to
Hickey,
Raids. Send it to
yeah,
Raids.
no,
And he can
I'm
put it up
getting
to us.
there. Like I'm just
Okay,
scrolling.
cool.
I'm scrolling as fast as I can scroll.
Okay.
But you picked up a bunch of players from my bro Discord, actually. And Hecky, I'm gonna let you tell the story of this one because you actually picked up an SSA roster for RLCS.
Yeah, so it all started a few seasons ago in RSC EU. I basically random drafted Voodoo, so I didn't really know the name. He came to a couple of Ox tryouts. He was a decent player. We picked him up in draft, and he was still living in South Africa at this point. And yeah, I remember we ended up cutting him eventually from the roster because the ping was too much of a mismatch.
Yeah,
But,
no, fair enough.
But then we ended up picking him up again later in the season, and we became quite good friends. And then yeah, we got in touch with each other. We communicating and stuff. And then RSC SSA got announced, and I remember we both decided to join SSA season 1 under Unity, just so I could help him kind of get used to being a GM and knowing what to do, and education stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I just absolutely fell in love with the region. I mean, I've been in EU since I was born, physically. And
Physically, yes. Thank you for distinguishing.
but like physically, yeah. But like spiritually, SSA just grabbed me quite aggressively, really. But it was
man is so quotable. I love this. I'm not even sure where to lead from, but we've actually got a picture of the team that you picked up. We'll let you lead into that, but just show them because I just this is the first time I saw the Ox Gaming regalia, and just take us through this. Like, why these guys?
I believe we picked up Colour Cold in season 1 of SSA, and he was our captain for one of the. Oh god, that picture is photoshopped terribly.
Amazing! I love it. I love it.
No,
so
that's
much.
great. That's great.
That's
Carry on.
amazing.
Colour Cold's missing a hand, bro.
Oh wow! Like,
Some say it's
I
AI.
wouldn't have noticed that. I wouldn't have noticed that.
Yeah, me and our graphics design guy, we worked really hard on this, and it didn't pay off. But no, it was fun, and yeah, like I said, we picked up Colour Cold in season 1 of SSA, and again, he was just so friendly, just like everybody else in the region. And when Oct was looking to get into RLCS, we threw a hand in EU for a little while, but didn't really feel the stickiness of it. So I remember approaching Greybeard, asking if he knew anyone that's like maybe up for signing to a team. He gave me some names. None of those guys really paid off. But then I approached Colour Cold with the idea, and he said, "Yeah, I know a few guys. We could get together in a call and see how we get on." So yeah, it was just me and these 4 guys, all chilling in a call, and yeah, everyone was super nice, super friendly. So we officially picked them up, and that's where this picture came from.
And I just gotta say this gave you like at least 20 points to charisma because Greybeard, you know some of these faces. Color Cold is obviously the head coach of Grey Bloom. So he's deep in the Rocket League community. Acro was the leading demo chaser of RSC Season 1. Zar is terrible. He is a guest lecturer of Rocket League Scientology or whatever it is. He basically coaches all of the people who want to get out of Plat in the bro server. So he is an esteemed member of council that has also been through and through. So all of them absolute legends. So when you announced this and saw these guys going up on Twitter, it was amazing. And ever since I've had such mad props for Ox because you couldn't have picked better guys.
Yeah.
You say these are faces I know. I got to tell you, I've never seen this picture before, but Color Cold is the only face I actually know. So Jace, Zar, and Acro, names I know, like legends in the community. I know all of them, but now I'm seeing their faces, and none of them look like anything I would have pictured.
that has a funny thing, right? Like, let's talk about that for a second. Everybody's got like a gamer tag, and you hear them on Discord, and you hear their voice, and all of a sudden you get to see them up on camera for like the first time, or you see a picture of them, and they're like, "That dude does not look anything like I thought he was gonna look like." And that happens with like nearly every single person I've ever met out of Rocket League, and I can't remember. There's like one or two people who looked exactly like they sounded, but it's definitely not the norm.
I think Bromeo, I think you look exactly how you sound.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, thanks. That's the first time I've heard that, but now I'm going to think about it for like the next 3 hours as to why.
Eben Fenter makes a very good point in chat. Given the South African context, maybe Ox needs to go through a rebrand and be Os
Gaming.
Os Gaming in South Africa. Os being the Afrikaans word for Ox there, Hecky, in case that didn't come across there.
Yeah, I thought it was like a spelling error or something.
It is, but we call that Afrikaans.
Wow. For all of the Afrikaans speaking Rocket League players, I apologize for the views of Greybeard. They do not represent our own, and I must just disclaim that they are his own and not the views of this show.
Now, I met Daniel at some gathering. It was probably
Comic-Con Cape Town. Yeah, like a couple
that's right. Okay. Now, which brings up an important point. I got into Rocket League content creation or getting involved in the community right as the pandemic hit. And that's when Rocket League moved to pretty much an almost exclusively online activity. So everything was online, and that's what I became used to. I'd never really been to a LAN. I'd been to one, which was a tiny little VS Gaming one here in 2019. But otherwise, everything was online, and it never really occurred to me that we should be meeting in the real world. But then having gone to now a few Comic-Cons and you meet, it is so different meeting people in the real world. As we know, when you can connect face to face, you can look each other in the eyeball and have a proper conversation. And we need to be doing a lot more of that. And Bromeo, you brought it to my attention that there are actually a couple of opportunities that are coming up for throughout the country that we should absolutely use for some meetups, some get-togethers. Let's all meet up.
So here's the thing. I'm a big fan of meeting people in person because I feel like an online community is the start, but a physical community is the goal. Because when you meet people in real life, you make friends for life. And there's so many people who are absolute legends who I've never ever met. So It's the same reason why I started Bro, was I just wanted to meet more guys to game with, and ultimately I set upon meeting as many of them as I could. And so this year, and we always used to complain that there's not enough going on in Rocket League. Next month, from the 9th to the 14th of July, I will be in Cape Town casting the ACG LAN for their schools final and their main final. And I wanted to obviously take the opportunity to go out and meet some fellow Cape Townians, because I know I talk smack about Cape Town all the time. Whenever somebody gives me an opportunity to talk about it, I do. But last time, I think it was 2 years ago, possibly even longer, I did a bro get together, or somebody organized a bro get together in Stellenbosch, and I just remember somebody saying, "Bromeo, are you going?" I was like, "No, of course not. It's in Stellenbosch. I live in Joburg." And then we went and watched the rugby and had way too much to drink and decided to book tickets to fly there for a party and then fly back. So it was the most expensive party of my life, but it was also one of the greatest experiences because I got to meet so many faces that I'd only known online. And I sent through a picture of that event that I want to put up on screen. So I'll give the background to it while they set it up. But this was the Stellenbosch party, and this picture was taken way before things got out of hand. But I just remember having a t-shirt full of bro shirts, a t-shirt full of bro shirts, a suitcase full of bro shirts, and a lot of these faces you'll recognize. So let's just put this up on screen quickly, and then I'll take you through it. So if you have a look there in the middle, the guy with the glasses, that is S. Falcon. Obviously, you know his face. Far right is Dutch, but then every other face, other than mine, who's obviously had too many beers there by that point, are just members of the community. And, people who, I played Rocket League alongside, who I got to meet in person. So I would love, Greybeard, to do another of these. I haven't sorted out where it's going to be, who's going to be sorting it out with me. But I would love to meet some Cape Town bros. And not just Bro Clan, but anybody who's around in Cape Town. Let's do something fun. Let's take more photos like this one so that we can display them at inopportune times a couple months from now.
Following that, so that's Cape Town. Cape Town
that's Cape
next
Town.
month, 9th to the 14th of July. So that's Cape Town taken care of. But then there's a Bloemfontein extravaganza coming up in August. Which is weird because I would never have pegged Bloemfontein for anything. But at least there is an activity, someone expressing interest in putting on a Rocket League event. So what an opportunity that'll be.
I mean, I was so excited when I heard about Bloemfontein for the first time. And I'm not even talking about like Bloemfontein esports, just like Bloemfontein in general. And I was like, I would love to go and see how they live in Bloemfontein, what level of technology they've reached. Have they progressed past electricity? Have they begun making tools? And this is something, I make jokes, but Bloemfontein is a fantastic town that nobody ever goes to because it's on the way to some place. And unless you're from Bloemfontein, there's not too many reasons to go there. And some of the biggest jewels of my life have occurred in that little place in the Free State where you could see trouble coming from like 2 days away because it is that flat. But Bloemfontein is a fantastic place because the culture is so different. And so Color Cold, head coach for Grey Bloem, obviously, which is one of the biggest Rocket League schools in the country. And I spoke to Color Cold the other day, and he is busy setting up the whole Rocket League portion of this LAN that is taking place in the heart of Bloemfontein. Now, I can't remember the dates exactly. I just know it's early August, and I'll figure those out for you now. But I will be heading down to Bloem for this. You know, for the shits, the giggles, the vibes, the fun. It is going to be amazing. So if anybody feels like coming to experience Bloemfontein with me and possibly enter a Rocket League tournament while you are there, to just see how deep you can go and see how far the local talent runs. Just know that I'm going to go there. I'm going to be there. So if you want to tag along, it's going to be great. So hit my DMs if you're keen. I will take a camera and possibly no witnesses just for if it gets a little bit crazy. But I think it's so cool. Like 2 lands in 2 months. And a couple years ago, we were trying to just get one off the ground.
Now, the banger thing about the Bloemfontein one is that because it's all happening on the day, it's not like a bunch of pros are going down there to join. I think it's going to be a lot more social competitive Rocket League than you might find, well, certainly than the AGC, which is going to have sort of much higher level players. So if you are just a chillin', thrillin' Rocket League player in Bloem or in Joburg, head down there and just compete. I think it's going to be the closest to like an RSC experience where you just have a bunch of casuals joining up and being competitive and sweaty for an afternoon. So, and then we'll follow that with a party. And then also in August, this should have been in September, because Comic-Con Joburg is always in September, but because there's the governments of the world are descending upon the venue in September, Comic-Con is going to be the last weekend in August this year. And there is the VS Gaming LAN. I'll be casting that. And I would love to organize on maybe either the Friday or Saturday night a specific get-together for the Rocket League community. 2 years ago, there was like an after party, and I thought, oh, that'll be great. And I went to it, and I think I saw one other Rocket League person there, and there were a bunch of other streamers and content creators, which was great. But it wasn't my peeps. I wanted to see all the players in the Rocket League community. So I'm going to put some effort into organizing a get-together on either the Friday or the Saturday. Oh my God, I've just realized, Bromeo, you're going to see Devour's dad. I've just seen him in chat. He's in Bloemfontein. So, and that just strikes me as trouble. But
man, I have no idea what to expect. I've already spoken to Chaos in chat and Lacquer Guy, and it's going to be so much fun because I've spoken to so many faces who I didn't even realize were from Bloemfontein. And I do think that they contribute far more to the Rocket League playing population than we give them credit for. So if you do feel like invading their shores and stealing their prize money with me, please come. Let's go. Let's make a posse out of this. Let's get a little Rocket League bus going. That would be fun. But yeah,
I said
ideas
posse.
are getting a bit crazy
Yes.
now. Yeah.
So that's coming up, and then Comic-Con end of August. So lots of opportunities to meet up, take advantage of at least one of those. And I see Slayer Energy popped into the chat. Hello, Slayer. And while we're talking about that, there is a competition ongoing, and there is only 1 week left. We are making a gamer can of Slayer Energy, custom made by somebody in our community. So submit your art. The winner gets 3,000 Rand and a year's supply of Slayer and your design and name on a can of Slayer. So if you want to get into that competition or find out more information, hashtag Slayer in chat. I've just put it in there. It'll give you a link of where you can go. All the information on what the art needs to look like, the general guidelines, and how the definite instructions on not being dull. This is all about death to dull. Get your design in there. Maybe your design will be on a can of Slayer drink. More announcements about that coming soon. The last topic I want to talk to everybody about is who has started playing. I see a bunch of people in my chat when I was streaming the 1v1 Cash Cup yesterday were talking about it, and Bromeo, you've talked to me about it, but Daniel, Hecky, have you guys A, heard of, or B, played Rematch yet?
I think you should tell me about it.
Man is behind the times. He is behind the times.
So there's what they're it has a strong connection with Rocket League in that it's a soccer game, but you're playing as an individual player. It's not like FIFA where you're controlling a whole team. You are playing with 2 or 3 teammates against another team of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 people. I'm not sure, but you are. So a terrible description has been it's like Rocket League without the cars.
But I scored football.
No, so let me just add on to this because I'm part of the hype brigade for this game. I picked it up as it came out because you can get it for free on Game Pass, and also just get it on Game Pass because you can't play it cross-play right now. So if you buy it for $400 on Steam, sucks to be you. You're not going to be able to play anybody. So I just got to say I've had more fun playing this silly little game than I have most games, and everyone's like, oh, it's going to replace Rocket League. No, it's not. It's not the same game. It's nowhere close. But what it does do is it puts 3 to 5 players on a team together at the same time with not much training, and allows you to have an absolutely fantastic time. I think casting this game and showcasing this game is going to be absolutely hilarious and fantastic because it's not FIFA. It's not as serious as FIFA, and it's not as ugly as FIFA, and it's got 0 rules. So you can tackle as much as you want. You can be as offside as you want, and you can be as awful as Tubbsy is at the game. And you can still have a good time, without feeling too bad. So I know that I heard the whisperings of Machuk and Arch talking about rematch. So I didn't think, much of it until I actually played it myself, and I was pleasantly surprised. So, I would not be surprised if there was a big rematch, event, tournament, Slayers in chat saying Slayer rematch cup when. Honestly, I'm down for it. I'm here for it. It'll be a lot of fun. Greybeard isn't completely sold on the idea. I know Hecky.
No. I'm having a bit of a devious idea here. But Hecky, I know Hecky has to leave shortly because he's got important grown-up things to do. But Hecky, I just wanted to get your opinion on it before you left. On have you seen it, played it, know anything about it, have an opinion about it?
So I've not personally played the game, but a lot of my friends do, and I'll sit in VC while they stream and play it. And they really enjoyed it, and I could see there's a really big esports future with it that I'm getting from the vibes of it. So at Arcs, we're already looking at tryouts and stuff for the rematch, 5v5 tournaments that are coming out. So yeah, we're getting heavily involved in that over in Arcs. I think you guys should definitely look at doing something with it as well.
And then, okay, great. Well, Hecky, if you need to bail at any point, feel free to head out. I don't want to keep you here longer than you need. So hang out as long as you can, and you're welcome to breeze out when you need to. Daniel, so clearly you haven't A, heard of rematch, or B, played it. But, I mean, do you get to play anything? You're in esport, but is it keeping you busy on the periphery, or do you get to play anything?
No, I don't really get to play much. I'm a very avid fan of strategy games and turn-based games. So if I get a chance to play, it'll be like a factory building game or like Sid Meier's Civilizations. But besides from that, no, not really. It's really weird. You're like, oh, I'm gonna work in esports, and then you realize that you're so busy that you just get no time to play any games at all. But what I will say, this rematch game seems like a good idea for an RSC SSA stream where we get the admin team of RSC putting together a little show match.
Ooh,
I love the sound of that. Preseason tournament, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, a little hype show.
Or maybe even, are you able to create private lobbies yet?
Yeah, of course you can.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay, so okay. Well, I think we need to have a conversation about, I don't know, sometime either in mid-season or pre-season, as you've suggested, or I think there's definitely room for us to throw in a bit of chaos with a rematch event.
No, well, Ox Gaming Hickey over here is saying, my 5 players are better than anything you can throw together. And I honestly hear
Here
Unity
we go.
and White Rabbit Gaming going, what the F is this guy talking? He is smoking socks. And we are thusly going to have a 5v5 org-based tournament to decide who has bragging rights for the rest of the season. So, Heki, your challenge has been heard. We hear you loud and clear, and you now have a couple of weeks to prepare your boys for this tournament that has not been named, it has not been dated,
Yeah.
no planning has gone into it whatsoever, but just know that you will be put to task.
And then I
Yeah,
see
I'll be ready.
Raids has said that DSQ did a rematch tournament during the open beta test, which he says was a lot of fun. So that's pretty. So the proof of concept has already happened, and listen, I'm very keen. And playing rematch with the Rocket League community has the advantage of, you can play against top Rocket League pros, but we're all at the same cuck place right now, so that's pretty cool. So you can play against a Werty or a Sweaty or a whatever, and be on roughly equal terms, at least for now.
That is the truth. That is the complete truth. I was in a lobby with Zany, Scruffy, Tubbsy, and a whole bunch of Rocket League sweats, and they weren't significantly better than me. Make no mistake, they were still better than me because they could pick up any game and be better than me, but it wasn't by a huge amount. And so I'm pretty sure that'll only last for another 30 minutes or so until they've leveled up and played more ranked. But for a brief period in time, us silvers and golds and plats dared to dream. And that was fun. So I do think that there is a lot of potential in this. It's definitely not going to replace Rocket League. It's not going to take any attention away from Rocket League even. But it's a nice thing on the side that players and fans of Rocket League get to enjoy as well, if that makes sense.
And maybe for once there might be a game with a transferable skill. I have no idea, having not played it. I don't know if there's anything you can take out of Rocket League and bring into rematch. Absolutely nothing. Okay, well then never mind. All right, well, gents, I think
No, I was gonna say, and the older you get as well, the harder it is to become competitive in it. Like, I try and pick up an FPS game, and then probably be about a week later I put it down because I'm like, you know what, I'm actually never gonna get good at this, and that just frustrates me. I'm getting like absolutely wrecked by like people a third of my age now. Well, yeah, close to a third of my age, and I'm like, no, this is not it.
Yeah, no, you're getting smacked around by people born this century, which is just a tragedy.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I think that brings us. I think that brings us to the end, unless there is anything of great import that we have forgotten to bring up.
There is, actually. Sean would have been very, very upset with me if I didn't mention this, but what he did want to say regarding all of you who haven't signed up for RSC yet, do not worry about leaving it until the last moment to make sure that your CMV, your MMR, is as high as it possibly can be. Don't worry about that because we scrape from now, we pull the MMR all the way from now until signups close. So you can sign up now and still hit new peaks and it won't change a thing. We've now got a much more advanced way of capturing your information, your game information. So you don't have to worry about things like that. Prior, when it was all manual, yes, it was a problem. But now you can sign up at any point and it doesn't matter because I guarantee you by the time the season begins, your rank will be updated. So you can sign up at any point. There is no disadvantage to signing up now. So please, if you have been sitting on it for that reason, don't worry about it. Sign up takes 2 seconds, get it done, and then you don't have to think about it again until season kicks off.
And I'm also hearing through a little birdie told me that you guys are smashing signups already this season. So you know what, keep it up. You guys as a community are doing insane.
That actually does.
Which brings us to the point. We haven't even mentioned how many signups we have. I mean, that's a huge oversight.
It is. It's absolutely massive. I'm trying to get the complete signups for previous season, but we're sitting on about 200 signups now. 200, and I think
5 weeks of signups to go.
And like, I stand to be corrected, but I think we closed signups last season on like 207 signups. So we're already where we were last season with regards to signups, and we've still got over a month left of signups to go. So for every person who joins, on top of this, is only making this little event that we're throwing even bigger, even better. The more people that join, the crazier stuff that we can get done, because we've got, more teams, possibly more tiers, maybe. I obviously can't leak because no decisions have been made, but if we do continue at the rate that we're going, this is going to be absolutely massive.
Now, I've not been grinding Rocket League a lot. I'm slowly getting back into it. And in all the lobbies I join, I ask if people know about RSC. And I've been very surprised by how many. And keep in mind, I'm sort of, Diamond 2-ish in ones, Champ 2 in twos. So that's the level I'm at. And I've been surprised at the number of people that don't know about RSC, which does bring up the recruitment aspect. Is all of us have to be promoting it. Every lobby you're in, ask if they know about RSC. Tell people it is the biggest community esport league on the entire continent, and they should sign up. It's going to be a banger. Point them in the direction of the Discord, and let's get more and more and more done. So there we go. That's my appeal to everyone out there to keep recruiting. Get the signups. If you haven't signed up, get it done now, today. Do not delay. Do not wait. And that does bring us to the end. And so, Hecky from Os Gaming, thank you very much for coming to hang with us for a bit. We are going to be getting peeps from all the orgs to come and hang with us on the podcast, introduce themselves to the community and what they're doing, what they're all about. So, Hecky, a great pleasure to have you. Thank you for being here.
No, it's been a pleasure being here, guys. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
And Daniel, I'm glad we dragged you in front of the camera. We got your face out there. It's out there now. There's no turning back. And don't forget, go and look at Sathu at the end. I think you'll definitely more than a passing resemblance. It's pretty cool. And I think that. Oh, hold on. Is there anyone worth raiding? Did anyone go live quickly so we could go and raid them?
I see Months is online playing rematch, of course.
Playing rematch. Okay, fine. Well, if there isn't anyone better, and there isn't, we'll go and see Months. Now, Months was a legend in the SSA community back at the start of RLCS. He was a caster in the region for the first couple of seasons. Still does a bunch of casting. Good man out of Australia, living in Sweden. So go and say, how's it? We are going to go and raid Months. And go, and if you haven't seen Rematch yet, you'll get an opportunity to see it now, see what it looks like, and you can get all excited about that. But that from myself, Greybeard, the Bromeo, Desolation, and Hecky, we are done. Peace. See you soon. Bye.